And we're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by the returning Tyler Cheman. Is that how you say the last
Shaman.
name? Cheman,
Yep.
yes. Writer and director of Not Another Monster Movie, which we just watched, which is very fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a blast being here.
Yeah. So it was cool. I got to see the movie again, got to watch with people, and I saw a lot of Buffalo Dreams alumni.
Oh yeah, it's always fun, especially seeing like Bill Brown and Mick O'Keefe and on the big screen. You could always see them basically whenever a film is being shot in the area.
Mm-hmm. Now, which came first, actually? Did you start going to Buffalo Dreams before you were involved in filmmaking, or were you involved in filmmaking and started going to Buffalo Dreams?
I was more involved in filmmaking and then started going to Buffalo Dreams. At first, I started out just kind of honestly just watching how people worked on behind the scenes. Like I used to watch the Lord of the Rings, all the extended editions and the appendices, and seeing how crew worked together. And I'm like, okay, when instead of going to college, I want to make movies. So so yeah, I found out there was a local film industry about 10 years ago, and just kind of worked my way up. From there, I started working with Adam Steigert, and then just kind of broke off on my own for a bit, and then started working with Greg Lamberson, and now here I am.
Yeah. I always bring that up when I go to festivals. I like the ones that have a community feel like Buffalo does,
Yeah.
one in Boston does. And so, people think, oh, I'm far away from Buffalo or wherever. There's probably one that's not that far from you that you could go to, and there's probably a community there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
also,
yeah.
most of the people I know who make movies didn't go to film school. They learned, like you said, watching specials on DVDs or commentary tracks, and then finding other people and, making movies with other people, or at least being on
Oh
set
yeah.
of other things.
I joke with everybody that I didn't learn too much about sound before making this production, but I have direly learned, especially from Greg Lamberson, that I invested a good chunk of money in sound in my next project. So it's when Little Green People, the next feature film, comes out, you will see the money has been spent wisely.
So, was this your first feature?
This was I would say my fourth.
Okay.
The other, there's two of them, Alive the Undead, and then the sequel to that came out. They're on YouTube for free to watch. And then we shot an action comedy called Agents that released for a bit and then just kind of faded away because I was looking towards this project, not another monster movie. And yeah, I had a really good friendship still with Brad Spiata, who was one of the main characters for Agents. And then I knew I wanted to keep him on for not another monster movie. And then he talked his way into Little Green People, and then so on for our production that's coming after that.
Oh, nice. So, when did Not Another Monster Movie? When did like the idea come about?
Basically, this we shot it in 2018, going into 2019. Um, I didn't have a car at the time, probably the year before, yeah, 2017. So I would borrow my grandmother's car, and I would always pitch her movie ideas just to see, okay, like, because she's comedic. I just want to get like an older person's perspective on it. And I pitched like five different ideas, and then all of a sudden she's like, this is it. This is the movie you have to make. Out of all the mistakes in my life, I had her support making this project, kind of thing. So she passed away back in 2017, and I was like, okay, like I really need to sit down and write this film, and that's what I did in her memory at the end. And the little picture that Johnny holds up when he's in the car, that's the photo of her that I keep in my wallet. So it was yeah, very memorable thing that we did. And yeah, I think that she would be proud of the project we made, not the sound but the video. But
Was she a movie fan?
She was a huge Tom Hanks fan, but she knew I was kind of starting out at the bottom and going up from there, kind of thing. But she knew I had a good connection with the film industry, and I got the help that I needed at the time. But just like I said, the sound was someone I didn't learn until after Monster Movie.
Right. So she was supportive. How about the rest of your family? Are they supportive about you
Oh
wanting
yeah,
to pursue movie making, filmmaking?
oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Anyone
No
else
autographs
involved
yet.
in the movies, or any
No,
other family members involved in your movies?
No, just me. There's a Matthew Broderick film that shot in Buffalo a couple of years ago. They ended up using my grandfather's barn in Eden, but I can't even remember which movie that was.
You mentioned Gregory Lamberson. Did
Yep,
he yell at you for the sound in the movie since you brought it up?
day of premiere. He said that I have quite a strong spot for comedy, and he's like definitely work on the sound, and he's expecting everything better for me to come. Which, like I said, I can't wait till Little Green People's out, and I'll really be able to show the world what I can do.
Yeah. Where did you premiere Not Another Monster Movie?
We showed it at the Screening Room Cafe in North Buffalo. So the whole thing, like when we met, actually, I was rushing editing on Not Another Monster Movie to get it to Buffalo Dreams, and Greg knew like my computer at the time sucked and it was exporting, and it took all day of the last day of submitting and literally uploaded to I think we used Film Freeway. It uploaded at 12:01, right past the deadline. And he's like, shit, because he knew I already took off for a week to be there as a filmmaker and help out. And he's like, well, I need someone to drive around the international directors. So I just committed to doing that, of helping them out and still seeing the festival and everything. And that was a blast, even though like I know I missed out because I was speeding through an edit. But it was just, he knew it was technical issues, but I still made the best of it. And I made so many connections just from that experience.
I'm looking at some of the stuff you said in the chat. You mentioned being 90 when you shot the opener. So where was that shot?
That was shot at Mark's girlfriend's house, and it was like that just around the city of Buffalo. And I don't think she had AC on at the time, but it was just so hot. And then the movie was made to like feel like it was Halloween, like October kind of thing. So a lot of the actors had to have like 2 layers of clothes on, because we also shot it in August through October, and then we had pickups in July. And sadly, that was the pickups kind of thing. We already knew like, okay, oh, we'll be fine, it's indoors. And then they're like, oh, it's boiling hot in here. But yeah, there's quite a wild blooper reel for this film. I'll make sure I send a link for.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it was complete blast of film. Paul McGinnis that you guys have seen in there, he's in a whole bunch of Buffalo stuff. He broke away from the script, but with permission, because I know with his comedic abilities, he can really either save a scene or throw everybody off. And it was a flip a coin. So I'm glad he did good. My dog's a Ty. But yeah, overall it was such a great experience, and it was like not only like professional but passion project, but it was just a bunch of film friends working together just to see it through. And I'm really glad everybody had a blast. But yeah, there was a stunt that Johnny did. He did not tell us ahead of time he was about to do that. When Mark comes in possessed and they knock Mark to the ground, and he decided to do the people's elbow on the ground. We did not know. We would have either told him no, or we would have supplied padding there, but he went straight to the concrete, and it was improv on his end. But I was like, shit, because we did not have insurance at the time.
I saw him in the chat say that he almost broke his elbow on the
yep
on that move. And
but he said, yeah,
he hadn't seen the finished movie before, so that was cool that he came.
Yeah.
Out.
Oh yeah, he had back problems during our original run. That when we secured Screening Room to be the official premiere for it, they told us the tickets sold out about 3 weeks before the screening, because of all the people at Buffalo Film wanted to come out supporting their friends and family. So they made us get 2 extra screenings just to handle that, which was great on both of my end and the theater's end of money coming in. But I just felt bad that, yeah, his back problems at the time prevented him from coming to the showings. But yeah, it's awesome that he got to witness the film from Without Your Head for the live screening, though, as one of the main actors. So that's awesome.
Yeah. How did he get involved in the movie?
So God, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Me and him, we met a long time ago. I think it was Buffalo or ParaHorrorCon. It's like a paranormal convention that they do in Buffalo every other year. I have no clue if it's going to happen now because of the virus, COVID things, of how that affected everyone's with conventions. We met there, and I was on a show for ghost hunting before, just as a special guest, as a filmmaker, and I think we just chatted, sitting across from each other at tables, and then he wanted to be involved in the production he was doing at the time, but just came up with schedule issues, and we did the mass cast and crew call for Monster Movie, and he submitted, and I'm like, okay, we can make him look drunk and believable, kind of thing, as a lengthy guy, like an actor portraying an actor kind of thing. And it worked out pretty well. I thought he did. He was very believable, acting drunk and sipping from the flask all the time. I think we put apple juice in the flask a lot.
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't acting. I was gonna say maybe it wasn't acting, but you said it was apple juice. So
yep. There might have been one day towards the end that we might have put something else in, but yeah, it was mainly apple juice, just because I wanted, if it ever spilled out, I wanted to see that kind of color kind of thing.
Yeah. And how about Mick O'Keefe? How did he get involved?
Oh God, Mick's involved in everything. You just say you're making a movie and he'll find his way in. Mick me and him, we worked together probably since 2013, and I knew he lived about an hour away at the time, and I knew if I was going to have him in the film, it would probably be just a two night thing to rely on him for, just so I wouldn't take up too much of his schedule, because this was a film that we all did like not getting money kind of thing. Everyone was just volunteer just to finish the project and just use it for the portfolio. So I decided, I told him, Mick, how would you like to be a vampire? And then he's like, could I be a homeless vampire? And I'm like, okay. And he came to the set, he put the makeup on, and he just starts pacing around the corner outside. And that's his first shot was when they run up to him when he's at the car. And I told him, how we're going to do the scene is, think of it like Crocodile Hunter. And I told him, and you're the crocodile. and he's like, good. And yeah, he did that all in one take. And like I said, all the actors started singing to him, and just it was such a strange shot we did, but I thought it just fed that moment so good for like an iconic mix scene.
Yeah,
because I know, he did Will o' the Wisp. Right now he's in Alaska. He messaged me before he went off the grid for work that he wished he could have been a part of the viewing. And
okay, it's for work. Interesting.
Yeah, he wanted to be a part of the viewing Q&A, but he just couldn't get proper connection, kind of thing. But yeah, it was a blast. And then he came back for pickups, and that's when we shot him and Paul together. And they just, like I said, they just made their moment, kind of thing. That whole exchange between him and Paul, and him deflecting the bullets, that was just all came up with that night. We just like, okay, we have 5 minutes in the movie, we got to fill. It's got to be like a fight scene. And then Mick's like, I could deflect it like it's a lightsaber. I'm like, no, Mick, it's a knife, but you could try to deflect it. So yeah, it was fun. I know when he was coming from Rochester that night, he actually got a flat tire on the way, and he messaged me. I'm like, if you got to go home, it's okay. Like, Paul's only 10 minutes from me. I could just tell him to turn around. And he's like, no, we're going to finish the movie tonight. I was like, okay, thank you.
I like Mick. Jason and I hung out with him. Jason met new reviews for the show when we were at Buffalo that year. We were there a couple of years, but he was there the 1 year we were at.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I remember that because I was in the Wisp as well. Yeah. That Jonathan, I got a cool scene with him, and I think that was my only scene in the whole movie. That that was filmed on a super cold, windy night, and like I think it was like January in the city of Buffalo. We're just standing like right in a wind tunnel and just fading the lines with Jonathan, and Mick's just standing there all bundled up and everything. I'm just in this really thin like checkered jacket, and it was just terrible. But it makes one of those people, he goes out of his way to help others, and I really appreciate that. And no matter what, if he ever wants room on a production I'm doing, we'll find room for him.
Another thing from the chat was I don't know if it was you or Johnny said this car was a death trap. I don't know.
Yes.
What's the story there?
So Mary Scarpello, one of our producers, and she played the witch. She drives every single year in the Buffalo Fair Demolition Derby. So that was her derby car, and we had to fire it up for the shot. And car wouldn't turn over, kind of thing. And when we got there for filming, it was basically it's on a lot in South Buffalo that's right next to train tracks and everything, the most sketchiest place you can imagine. But we're like, okay, for this movie, it's perfect, kind of thing. So we get there, and I guess getting the car ready for the Derby, they just smashed out all the the back and side windows. So as soon as we pull up, we're just moving a whole bunch of glass just out of the seats. And like, Johnny, we only need the front seat cleaned. Like, we're not going to mess around in the back. But yeah, that car was crazy. I know. Yeah, Mary's been playing in the Derby, I think, for like 15 years now. So she's tough. But yeah, that it was one of those things that as soon as like we had Ashley jumping up and down in the car, I'm like, the car's gonna get wrecked no matter what. Like, what we're doing is fine. I had their assurance that it would be okay.
Yeah. I forgot to mention when I mentioned Mick, I also like the bloodshot cam where it's kind of looking through his eyes. It's not like that, it has the little bloodshots on the sides.
Yeah, I realized when I did the sound effects, I put in heart beating, and then it just doesn't play through on there, kind of thing. It was meant to, like, he hears multiple heartbeats and the pulses, but it just never comes out for some reason. That's one of the things I noticed that, playing it through, I'm like, crap, there's an audio flare.
Well, it works. I like it.
Thank you.
Where'd the hands come from? The monster hands.
Those, I can't honestly remember it. I know I bought them online. They're like, it was Extreme Monster Werewolf Effects thing. And that's where I got the headpiece too. And I saw it in the catalog. It was, I think, $300 at the time for just a headpiece. And I messaged the company saying, like, hey, if I could have your permissions, I would love to use this in a film. And they gave me the okay. And then they sent the gloves with it too. I was like, great, kind of thing. So yeah, we used those. I think it was Exxon Studios that did them. But yeah, there was probably, I think, 8 or 9 of us ended up wearing the gloves for shots. My only cameo in the entire film was when the book's laying on the ground and the hand comes over, grabs it, and takes it. That was all me. That's the prime of my acting. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's other PAs were using it, other main actors were using the gloves. Everybody got to stick their hands in there. But
I think you said in the chat that was your favorite shot in the movie with the werewolf hands lifting the car.
Yeah, that was Preston, who was sitting in the driver's seat. Caitlin was sitting in the back trying to get out of the car, and we just acted like there was child locks on in the car. And it was Preston's only night on set, and I'm like, hey, like I gotta focus on the camera. Would you mind just putting on the gloves and doing a creepy rise shot? And we did 3 shots of it, and he got it on the first take. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna definitely keep that. And that was like our big teaser kind of thing for the film. But this was like a film we wanted to do promoting on, but I just didn't know anything about crowdfunding at the time. So this was all self-produced.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I got into Little Green People and working with Kristen Skeet, I learned more about how to raise funds for productions and watching Greg raise all his for Guns of Eden and a whole bunch of other stuff.
What's that experience been like, you doing the crowdfunding?
It's been hell.
I learned from filmmakers about doing the crowd. It's a necessity at times, but it's still, a lot of people say it's not.
So when we started doing the crowdfunding for Little Green People, we kind of had a goal, like, okay, like I know how much I'm going to spend out of my pocket, and then just to see if we could match that kind of thing with crowdfunding. But no matter what, we would ensure the project would be done, kind of thing. It's more of just how much help we can get along the way. And shortly after, I think, coming out with the crowdfunding page, the coronavirus thing hit. And we're like, shit, like, well, our production's entirely delayed now. And just seeing how much that affected, and it was a terrible thing, like outside of film, of just how many lives this thing ruined. But I learned a lot, especially with Greg, about sharing and reaching out to the right people and just trying to build an audience based on interest, kind of thing. But like I said, is when you're in the Buffalo Film Network, everybody's supportive, kind of thing, sharing and helping each other out. But it's been quite fun and stuff. But, my dog's all worked up. Sorry.
Last year, obviously with COVID, like you mentioned. So how far along is Little Green People?
We have one pickup day left. So what we did, we kept an eye on our county rules and obviously the rules in New York State. We kept 90% of the production of filming under 10 people at a time, kind of thing. That we'd film for one day, and that was kind of like 6 or 7 hours. Wrap the day up, wait 2 to 3 weeks, and then continue the next day. Which sucked because originally the schedule was like, okay, we're gonna have this film done in a month, filming 3 days out of each week. It would have been done, but it's like we've been separating and only been able to do 2 shoots every month. But everyone's been super calm about it and relaxed, and everyone understands the situation. Everyone's been wearing masks, getting their temperature checks, getting the tests done. But now that the state's finally reopening, hopefully everyone could resume filming as filming once was, just a little bit more pressure on hand. But yeah, our most recent day, I think we had like 15 extras, and it was just the most uncomfortable thing, even though we knew like the situation, everyone was clean and good to go, just returning to that film world kind of thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's been quite intense.
No.
But everyone was on pressure. Everybody knew like we can't eat sitting next to each other. Everyone, if you're not in front of the camera, you have to have your mask up no matter what. Things like that.
Now, is Little Green People, that's going to be a series?
Originally, it was going to be a series, and then Kristen and I, she's the other co-writer and creator, we went through it, and she's like, we could just make it a movie as a feature. And she did a big revision. I think we cut like 15 scenes, but those were like scenes that if you were to remove them, they wouldn't damage the story. They were just kind of filler moments to get it along. Originally, we wrote like 7 episodes, and we cut one of them out in the middle, which was going to be a side story for Paul McGinnis. And he was super excited for it. And I was the one that broke his heart on that.
No, well,
but
Paul,
yeah, we really gave it our all on this one, and I'm super excited for everybody to see it. Every time I do a film, I like to think I level up a little bit more, and I'm really excited people to see where Monster Movie is and where Little Green People is going to be.
I know it's kind of early yet, but what are your plans to do with Little Green People?
I know me and Kristen have to look around for distributors, definitely. If we can get it at Buffalo Dreams, we're going to try to hit that deadline for this year. But if not, I know we'll still do a big public premiere and just slowly working from there and playing the festival game. So, but I know she has a lot of connections based off of her short film that I worked on with her called Murder Creek. That one seems to be quite the hit. That Quiet Place 2 shot at like 6 locations that we used after us, kind of thing. So that was fun to see in theaters.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Is that available? Her short?
Murder Creek, yeah. It's she made it public on Vimeo. I guess Akron Chamber of Commerce, they secured, like they kind of did like a private event with Dipson Theaters and Regal. They were going to show, this was last year when Quiet Place 2 was originally coming out. They're going to do a couple screenings of Murder Creek in front of Quiet Place 2. And because COVID hit, obviously, Quiet Place 2 got pushed back.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Showtime started getting...
I went to the theater. That was the first. Quiet Place 2 was the first movie I went to see in the theater after the pandemic.
Same with us. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And, yeah, so it was fun to see, like, going to the theaters and seeing Murder Creek in front of Quiet Place 2, just because it was it was basically a public event for all, like, the townspeople. And it's a super supportive community that they have out there.
Very cool. I'm gonna check that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll make sure I send a link to you.
And for people,
but that's...
I was just say, for people who watching the Q&A and didn't, if they're watching this, later, because the Q&A will stay up there. How can they see Not Another Monster Movie?
I do have it online on YouTube as well. If you want to keep it up online, that's up to you too. I don't mind.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have that cut that we've seen available on my page. In September, we're coming out with the DVD with the bonus features. It's about probably 6 minutes longer than the actual film that we just watched, just for it's like a extra director's cut, if that makes sense.
Oh, nice.
They tried to patch it up as best as I could. But there's, like I said, there's a wicked blooper reel for it that everyone just lost their shit so many times. A lot of it was Paul's fault. Yeah, there's a moment when they were in the basement and Mark asked Paul, he's like, "Oh, how much noise can you make?" And I pan over and Paul says, "So much." And Mark goes and says, like, "Not sexually." And come back to Paul and he's like, "Not as much." The entire cast was like biting their lips, laughing. They broke character like 6 times. We shot that like 8 times to get that one take. And then that was the only mess up in the film that Brad did not have his character glasses on. And we didn't realize it until 6 months after we shot it. For continuity. So we always, we have a checklist of who's wearing what on what days and things like that. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Is it was going to be at Buffalo Dreams, and I just missed that 1 minute deadline just because of computer issues. And yeah, but I ended up making the best experience out of it and spending time with everybody. And I'll tell you, sitting next to, or I was actually behind Granger Hines. That was one of the coolest things of watching the interview, sitting behind him and stuff, because that was so
my
cool.
favorite movie of that year at the festival.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I still talk to a handful of the directors, like Christophe, who's out in France, and a couple of the other guys. It's quite a blast. But yeah, anybody looking to come to Buffalo, definitely come during Buffalo Dreams. It's a lot of film connections to be made, especially with our friends of Canada when they travel down and so on. It's basically a huge network kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people about the festivals. I think they're important. You can go there and just have fun, but and you still have fun talking to everybody. Not like it's you're just networking to try to get connections, but it's just organically. I think you're having fun there. You're talking to everybody, and if people like you, they want to include you in other things. That's how I got involved.
Definitely, that's
some stuff that's coming up.
That's how me and Sabrina got involved working together. Was she was at Buffalo Dreams and she knew I was a camera operator, and Sabrina teaches, or she did at the time teach like film night classes at a school. That's how we got the school building, was because of her. And she's like, "Oh yeah, this place also has an elevator." So it was that day I'm like, "We're going to use the damn elevator in the movie," kind of thing. But I helped her with teaching about cameras and everything like that to her class, and in exchange I got to use the location, which really helped. And then I learned that she did composing, so she actually wrote the score that you guys will hear for Little Green People when it comes out.
Oh, that's very cool.
Oh yeah. And then we have a makeup guy, Josh Ebach in Texas. He mailed us a full body alien that we used for the antagonist, and that he made it all out of like plaster, latex, and clay, and he sent it probably February of last year, so right before the virus hit. And I'm like, okay, I have to protect this thing at all costs for 10 months kind of thing. And the latex and stuff just started slowly peeling away, because back when he sent it, it was like, okay, this thing's going to be used in a month and then it's going to be done. But it wore down. I think the character is definitely finished and wrapped, but all we have left is just the head, because the head snapped off after just so much weight and everything.
Well, I'm really looking forward to this, because I like fun effects, and this sounds like something I'm going to enjoy.
Oh yeah, there's aliens that transform into humans and animals and things like that, and giant space rays and invasions and robots, and but it was the coolest thing, and I will hold it to the day that I die that I am the first one to film inside Lasertron for a feature film in the area. So I am quite proud that we got that location. I have no clue how Kristen convinced them, but I'll be proud of that, and I cannot wait to show everybody how easy it was to make it look like a spaceship kind of thing for the finale of the project.
Very cool. I'm looking.
Thank you.
I'm very much looking for. How would people follow that online if they want to see? If it ends up at festivals, or
Yeah.
No.
The Facebook page it's still listed as Little Green People 2020. For some reason, it will not let me change it to 2021 for the name. It's easy. I tag Paul McGinnis in nearly everything that I post because it's Sarah Jean. She played the female vampire in Not Another Monster Movie. Her and Paul McGinnis lead the film for Little Green People. That I saw how they acted together in a couple productions, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to build a story in the 1980s of a female cop that just hates her job. The detective hates her, but her and her partner are trying to work together to solve a case, kind of thing. But you'll see the Roswell crash. That was a really fun thing to shoot. And like I said, the acting and comedy in Little Green People is 10 times higher than it is in Monster Movie. So it was just a taste of what's to come.
Very cool. Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
I'm honestly looking forward to it. Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Would you ever do a sequel to Not Another Monster Movie?
I would say Not Another Monster Movie and Little Green People, the endings connect.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So there is an ultimate plan for a trilogy kind of thing. So we after like because we're just basically wrapped with Little Green People, we're just kind of looking at okay, what's ahead, and we confirmed 4 of the cast members that have been in what would be all 3 looking to come back because Little Green People takes place in the 1980s, and then Monster Movie I would say mid to late like 2010s or 2015s, and then everything will come together for a final conclusion.
Very cool. Well,
Thank you.
Forward to all this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again when I come
hell yeah.
back to Buffalo.
We'll be getting Buffalo Wild Wings or Duff's or anything with the buffalo chicken.
Yeah. I usually get Duff's because I can get Buffalo Wild Wings, so I get Duff's because I normally can't get that.
We'll definitely get Duff's. And then I want to give a shout out to that. Unfortunately, last year we lost Michael O'Keefe. That he was gonna play a pivotal role in not only Monster Movie but Little Green People. And after he passed, John Renna took up the role that Michael was going to fill, and it sucked because a week before Michael passed, he finished the script for Little Green People, and he told me how excited he was to really live this character, especially because Paul's a really good friend of his, and I could see what it meant to him. And then unfortunately, yeah, he had complications with surgery that he unfortunately passed away. But his good friend John Renna stepped in and filled his shoes, and he actually portrays the character of the police captain in Michael O'Keefe's voice. So I'm excited to see everyone kind of see the nod that John gave to his friend, kind of thing. But it felt like Michael was on set all the time, especially when mishaps would happen. Either the camera battery would die 10 times earlier, or the light would basically cut out entirely, or the camera wouldn't recognize the SD card. So I would like to say that was Michael all along messing with the camera, just like he used to.
Yeah. Everyone speaks highly of him. When Greg on the show, and everyone from the area always speaks so highly of him. So it was a big loss, especially to the Buffalo community.
And we're working on a documentary based off of Michael's life and career that Debbie Rochon helped out with, and Paul and John, and I'm working with Greg to get his interview done, but we're hoping to have it ready for Buffalo Dreams as well, kind of as it's more of a nod and just remembrance, because when he passed, nobody could come together, and I just had this idea to make a documentary for him, and I got a hold of all the local directors, and they all gave me permissions to use footage of him throughout a documentary kind of thing, which is really helpful. But I'm hoping to bring that to light right after we finish Little Green People. So that'll take care of both things at once we would like to dedicate to Michael O'Keefe, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. And I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
Thank you. So far, the interviews are going really fun. They had a lot of fun stories about them.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It'll be like I say, a celebration of him, and people can look back fondly at his career, and maybe some people who didn't know him will watch a documentary and and appreciate all he did.
Definitely.
Well, this has been really fun to talk with you and watch a movie with everybody.
Awesome. I'm extremely grateful for the experience. I loved reliving Not Another Monster Movie and remembering all the mishaps that happened on set that turned out to be the best footage I've ever had.
Very good.
But I'll send a link for the blooper reel so everyone could laugh and enjoy it a little bit more. But I'm thankful so much for this, and I cannot wait to be back in Buffalo Dreams again.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you again when little green
Hell yeah,
is coming out.
good. I'll keep sending you footage.
All right, very good. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you, bud.
Yep.
See ya.
Here. Bye.